Welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your host on today's episode. And today we have Dana Samuelson, president of American Gold Exchange, joining me on the show as my guest. We're going to be talking about his business, his journey to business ownership, some best practices, and maybe some challenges that he's faced along the way to give you that inside look to what it's like to own and operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop episodes like this. Welcome, Dana. It's great to meet you.
Hi, Kay. It's nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, I'm excited to learn about you and your business. So let's kick it off. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a 45-year precious metals market veteran. I got out of college in 1980 with a German degree, and I was unhireable like just about every other college graduate that got out of school in 2009 during the great financial crisis. I got a lucky break. My brother was in the precious metals business. He got me a job with the company he was working for in Houston, Texas. Where I worked in the vault because I could be trusted counting, shipping, and weighing precious metals. And I got my lucky break. A guy named Jim Blanchard offered me a job in 1983. He's the man most responsible for the private relegalization of gold ownership in the United States in 1974. And in the late 70s, early 80s, he had the largest mail order precious metals and rare coin company in the country. And I got to work for Jim for 10 years, first as a vintage coin appraiser trainee. Then I became an appraiser. Then I became a junior trader. Then I became trader where I was buying merchandise from dealers all over the country with Jim's money. Then I became senior trader for him. And that's really how I learned the industry and got to know a lot of the industry players. I ended up moving to Austin, uh, which I love, in 1995 when it was still a college and government town. I went to work for a friend of mine, and that didn't work out. And I finally, said, it's time for me to hang out my own shingle. And I started American Gold Exchange in 1998, and I've grown it organically, a little at a time for 27 years now.
Wow, that's an incredible journey. And it looks very familiar. I know of this, and I was a coin collector as a kid, so I'm geeking out a little bit right now. So I'm excited to dive in and get the meat and potatoes behind your business. And you talked a little bit about your why and your how you got there, but what is it that really got you excited about like the precious metal industry?
Well, first of all, I love current news, politics, finance, and all of these things come together to affect the precious metals markets up or down. And there's always something interesting going on that affects my market because gold and silver, they're just precious rocks. They don't do anything. So the value that they have or that we perceive them to have is driven by external forces. So it's always something interesting pushing the precious metals prices around. And over the last 20 years, it's been mostly debt, as our debt in the country has gone higher and higher. So has the gold and silver prices. And we have geopolitical tension can affect things. We have the war in the Ukraine has created a lot of central bank gold buying because if you run politically afoul of the US, uh, we can sanction you or seize your assets. But if you have gold in a vault, it can't be seized or sanctioned. But more than anything else, gold is one of the few assets that doesn't have any counterparty risk, meaning it's not reliant on a counterparty to produce a profit or a gain or a goal of some kind for it to be worth something. And the way we measure it in currency, it's not that gold is becoming so much more valuable. It's the currency that we buy things with is becoming less and less uh, valuable or has less and less purchasing power over time. So that's why I love doing this. It's been really exciting. Living in Austin's just been wonderful. It's like we have a whole new town, and I never had to go anywhere the last 5 or 10 years.
That is very true.
Yeah.
You've probably seen the whole like the skyline develop and everything.
I remember when the Frost Bank Tower was the only big building downtown, and that was 2002 or 2003. Yeah, it's just amazing the growth of the city, and it's retained its wonderful Austin vibe along the way. which is even more, makes it even more special.
Oh, um, just taking a couple notes. I agree with you. And this is a really incredible too. So I kind of want to dive into a little bit about the business, looking at kind of like let's start off with your think of the word right now. Your employees, your employee base. Like it takes a great team to keep the doors open. So what's your team look like now? How many team members do you currently have?
Well, we're small. I never wanted to be too big because our business tends to be feast or famine, and we've left a little bit on the table when things have been really feasty, and I've never had to lay anybody off when we've been into one of the weaker periods as well. So I've hired for trust and loyalty. I've got a great team. We have about 15 people that work for us in total. And most of them have been with me for 15 or 20 years, some a little longer than that. So we have real loyalty. Now, I realized when I started the company, there were a couple things that really mattered to me. Number one was that we had really competitive pricing, great service. And I knew the internet, which was just coming up at that point in time in 98, would level the playing field. So we made sure we had a good website. But more importantly, the people around me were people that I wanted to be with, because when you go to work, you really spend more waking hours with the people you work with than you do with your own family at times, right? So I wanted to make sure that I had people around me that I liked and could trust as well. And we are a little family type operation in that that's how we treat each other. We're friends. We hang out together, and we really rely on each other. Um, so that's really the most important thing. And we're nimble. We can change gears quickly if we need to, depending on how business conditions go.
Oh, definitely. That's the power of a small but mighty team. And looking at looking at kind of like your position now, are you the sole are you like the co-owner or do you own 100% of it or how does the ownership look in your business?
Well, I started the company, but my business partner is one of my best friends from high school, actually, who is an analytical genius and has a PhD in English. So he's very talented. And we complement each other well because I'm good at business and I'm good at what I do, my industry, which is a unique industry. But my partner complements what my skills set is lacking. So we make a great team. You should always hire your weakness, right?
Mhm.
And together we've grown the business, from a small, startup to a national, powerhouse. Basically, we do a lot of business for a small sized company. Some of my peers are very when we tell them the numbers, they're like, "Wow, you do a lot for a little company." Yeah, we do.
Mhm. Well, I want to dive into all that you offer too, first, like to your clients. But first, I want to ask, like, who is your ideal client? Like, if I was to walk through your doors or check out your website, how would I know I'd be a great fit for you?
Well, we don't have a store per se. We work by appointment with the public, and that is for safety's sake. Number one, our ideal client is someone who is probably a successful businessman or businesswoman, probably middle stages to later stages of their career. They've acquired some wealth. They tend to be independent thinkers. Uh, Precious metal ownership is a counterbalance to traditional financial assets. So gold and silver don't tend to do very well price performance wise when everything's going great, but when things are not, they tend to be an excellent counterbalance to traditional paper assets. So we've got a lot of C-suite executives, a lot of small business owners are some of our better clients because they're independent thinkers too. You have to have something and a backbone and desire. You don't start up a business if you don't have a desire to be independent, right? That was my goal. I just wanted to be my own boss. So that's why I started the company. I wanted to be independent of having to respond to somebody else. I've only been fired once in my whole life, and I remembered it, and I didn't deserve it, but it helped me to cross the line and say, hey, it's time for me to start up my own company.
Definitely. Well, thank you for sharing a bit about your team and kind of like like who your ideal client is and kind of looking at now back to you and your services and who you serve. What's kind of like the thing that's got you fired up, say for 2025 with what you're working on?
Well, it's a very competitive marketplace. We have more uh, competitors in our business than we ever have before because the precious metals markets have been doing very well. We're an unregulated business, meaning anybody can be a precious metals dealer. And that's basically what we do. We buy and we sell physical precious metals, gold and silver, bars made by refineries or round bars. We call them coins, but they're really just round bars made by the US Mint, the Canadian Mint, the Austrian Mint. We make a very competitive buy sell market in them, very reliable, trustworthy. Um, so, 2025 is a time when we have opportunists have come into our marketplace that will take advantage of people. So I'm actually an expert witness for the CFTC in two allegedly predatory precious metals pricing cases, right? Because what happens is good people come into our marketplace, they might get hooked up with the wrong company, and they might be taken advantage of, and then they go away and never come back because they don't know who to trust. And our business is based on trust, right? So I've always tried to be just as trustworthy and reliable as possible. And when some Texas residents had some problems with a company that sold them precious metals in their IRA, I had the Texas Securities Commission contact me and say, hey, can you help us understand what happened here? So I went down and I to their office and I did a little analysis for them and said, yeah, these people paid too much, in my opinion. And about 6 weeks later, I had the CFTC in Washington, D.C. calling me, can you help us on a national level? So I did, because it was the right thing to do. If you take good care of your people, if you do the right thing, you're never doing the wrong thing, right? So that's kind of my business mantra. Do the right thing.
I like that. That's really good. And it does set you up for that success in business and kind of looking at what you're facing today in today's like industry. What would you say is one of your biggest challenges that you're facing right now?
Well, I said there's a lot of competition. We're also in a kind of a challenging economic environment with inflation. It's been up for the last couple of years. It's really put a dent in a lot of people's ability to purchase. What
Mhm.
we trade in is primarily a luxury item. You don't have to have gold or silver. You have to have food. You have to have water. You need a car. You need a house, right? So precious metals aren't necessarily a thing you need. And the marketplace right now in the United States has been a fear-free marketplace for the last couple of years.
Mhm.
In that there's stock markets have been doing pretty well just until the last week or so um, in the U.S. So it's a bit more of a challenging environment to do transactions because people are kind of complacent. They're happy. Inflation's taken a bit of a bite out. So the luxury aspect of it, buying and selling precious metals, um, we've had a lot of sellers actually because we've had record high gold prices. And we're survivors. There's always a way to earn a profit, small one. We make tiny, tiny margins. It's a very competitive business. So we have to run a really, really tight ship, straightforward and tight, which is what we do. It's how you
Mhm.
survive in our business.
Oh, definitely. I can totally see that, especially with the market being as insane as it is right now. Oh my
Right.
goodness. Another thing too, like what are you looking at? How do you see the company growing, say, in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, we've got a very stable crew. We're very happy with the size of our company. I don't think we're going to change that much. We're going to try and grow a little bit of our market share, and that's my job. I've got a YouTube channel, American Gold Exchange, that I'm trying to, grow so that we can spread the word, um, and compete better with some of our bigger competitors that are much, much bigger entities than we are. So, I have to wear a couple of hats, and most entrepreneurs will understand that. It's like president and janitor. They go together sometimes.
They do go together. That is true. I love that you said that. That's like a, pardon the pun, a golden nugget. I always like to highlight golden nuggets in the episode. So that is very much a golden nugget as you wear multiple hats as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I'm happy to do anything that helps to contribute to our success or our team. Yeah.
Definitely. So I want to dive in a little more on this YouTube channel that you just mentioned and the marketing pursuits that you have for what you're working on. So, what are some of the other marketing pursuits you're doing? Let's start with that question and then we'll deep dive into the YouTube.
Well, one of the best things that we have is that we're recommended by numerous influential newsletter writers or influencers who are looking for people they can recommend precious metals to through a dealer that they can trust. And that's a place that I've always occupied in the marketplace, a trustworthy place. So a lot of our growth has been due to the blessing that we've had by being recommended by um, others. So that's helped us to grow organically. And now, social media is platforms. There's, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, True Social. Now Rumble's coming up, and there's a couple other new ones. So there's all kinds of opportunities to spread the word. So we're just trying to deliver consistent, reliable market information and to answer questions people have. So if they're looking to learn, we can help them understand more readily the right way to go about participating in our marketplace. Because I'm friends with Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote one of the best-selling books in the world, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I told Robert I was having trouble selling a very particular item at one point in time. And he said to me, Dana, that's just education. And that was about 9 years ago. And that's when I realized that's my job, to be an educator, to help people understand our marketplace, which is an unusual and different marketplace. We don't have a gold or silver culture in the United States. If you live in a country where you've had war on your shores or you've had your currency fail, then you have a precious metals culture. And we don't have that in our country. Um, so that's my job, is to help educate, to make it easy for people to understand why precious metals might be a good fit. You don't need a lot, you just need a little bit. One of the studies shows that 5 to 7, 8% of assets in precious metals is enough of an insurance policy for the rest of your financial assets, so that if trouble hits, you have a good counterbalance. And it worked particularly well during the great financial crisis. And again, during the COVID episode when our debt exploded and then
Mhm.
inflation has followed. So
Mhm.
it's just about, education, spreading the word through reliable, accurate, and timely market information.
That's very important. I just wrote that down too. And now kind of diving to your YouTube channel, what are some of your goals with that? And what's some of the things maybe that you're challenged with getting into the YouTube platform?
Well, I'm an old school dinosaur, so learning some new tricks has been a little bit hard for me, and I've been, focusing on our business more than I've been focusing on, looking out and looking forward. So now as I enter the latter stages of my career, because I've been doing this for 45 years now, and I'm going to be doing it for a while longer. I have a lot of wisdom that I can share with people. So it's just, growing content is really what it's all about. Good content.
Definitely. And like with content comes like a lot of with distribution and getting your content seen. So what are some of the goals and things that you're looking to do to tap into the possibilities of that using YouTube?
Well, if you deliver good content and deliver something that helps people, that'll come naturally. But basically, I just want to grow the number of people that come to our channel and look at it, and our subscriber base, as well as our number of views. It's pretty simple. And this is something I've only been really focusing on for about a year now. While competitors of mine, have been doing it for 5 or 6 or 10, and have a big head start. But I think that we're better at
Mhm.
really delivering good information than a lot of our competitors are, because of the strength I have and also the connections I have in the industry. Some of my best friends are some of the most highly placed precious metals traders in the world, who deal dealer to dealer only, and I make them accessible via our company to the public.
Oh, definitely. Now, how are you currently growing your subscriber list?
Same way, referrals. We get a lot of referrals from customers who find us, have a good experience with us. We ask if you know anyone that wants to, do this as well, please share our information with them. So it's been very, like I said, it's been very organic, our growth. Our margins are very slim, so it's not like we have, tons of profit to create marketing budgets with, right? We've always kind of operated on a marketing shoestring for this reason. You can't be very competitive in the marketplace. You have to, something, you sacrifice something when you do that. And our industry, is tight. So we've always relied on, the help of others, whether it's influencers, newsletter writers, people like Robert Kiyosaki to help spread the word, or clients to give referrals. That's just the way we've grown our business.
Mhm. That's incredible. Well, it's your network is your net worth, I always say.
Well, in our business, it truly is. In every video, I thank our clients because without them, we wouldn't have a business.
Oh, definitely. Well, this has been a great conversation. Now I want to dive into a fun part of the conversation called our rapid fire questions, where I ask you four questions and you answer top of mind. Dana, are you ready for some rapid fire?
Let's go.
All right. Question number one is, what is the key to success for you?
Honesty and reliability.
Hmm.
Simple as that. You have to be trustworthy, honest, and reliable. If you make a mistake, tell somebody. They'll understand.
Definitely. And question number two is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
Uh, Focus on what you're best at and find people that complement you so that you don't have to do the things that you're not naturally gifted towards, right? As a business owner, especially startup, you got to do everything. And you end up spending a lot of time on things that you're not good at. So hire your weakness, as I mentioned earlier. It's a great way to go forward.
Definitely. Love that. Number three is, it could be any piece of content, a book, a podcast, anything that you've taken in most recently.
I do a lot of podcast listening. Uh, One that I've been actually paying attention a lot to is called the Duran, Duran. And it's these two gentlemen from Greece, who I've been focusing very much on the the Ukraine-Russian war, because it's a big deal. And the sanctions that we've placed on Russia have had a big effect around the world. Um, so it's something that I may shift out of, but I also listen to the Wall Street Journal podcast, The Journal, because it's got a lot of great, relevant US content as well. So I like those two podcasts right now.
Those are great. Thank you for sharing those. And our final question for the rapid fire is, if you could wave a magic wand and overnight improve one aspect of your business, what would it be?
I'd like there to be, I wish I could do more in less time. It's as
Mm.
simple as that. Uh, so I haven't found a way to do that yet. I may not, but I wish that I could get more accomplished in the course of a day.
Oh, 100%. I feel that too. Thank you for sharing that. Before we get to our final question today, how can people connect with you and your business online?
Well, our website is amergold.com. We have live, transparent pricing for all the products that we buy and sell. And we do a lot of other products as well, but we basically have what we call bread and butter products, the ones that are most widely traded, competitively priced, and most importantly, easily sellable for our clients in the event that they want to liquidate. There's a lot of cool rare coins or unusual precious metals items made by obscure countries, but they don't have much liquidity sometimes. So we try and deal in the mainstream product line, and we try and give concierge service without having to charge concierge prices. That's our real mantra, basically.
Well, thank you so much for connecting everyone with your business. For our final question today, Dana, what is most inspiring to you today?
Uh, America has always been the most wonderful place in the world, and it's going to continue to be. Now, we have a lot of challenges that we have to deal with, our debt in particular, and I have a lot of faith that we're going to get it right. I truly do.
Well, that is very inspiring. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being a guest on the show today. It was an absolute joy to talk to you.
Thank you, Kay. I appreciate your having me.